Anchors up, sails at full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing pretty well, Jared. Doing pretty well. We have a pretty lively group in our chat here, so I think it's going to be a fun one.
They've been drinking.
How are you doing?
They've been drinking, I think is what's happening right now. Navy talk is trash. Oh yeah, you don't like the anchors. Buckeye Esquire, thank you for the we got some theme. There's on theme gifts in here, and right now the chat's getting real nervous. I'm gonna keep scrolling up because they were saying some shit. Guys, I'm scrolling up. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. We're fine. We're fine.
All right, we're gonna jump right into our Know Your Enemy, but first, Jared, real quick here, we got some,
Gangland. You know you weren't the one I was talking about being drunk right now. You know who I was talking about.
But Jared, got some Sloopcast news here.
Yeah, we got some Sloopcast news. Yeah, something about that. We got some Sloopcast news. Now, some of you have already realized this because maybe you saw this pop into your feed and you weren't looking for it. But hey, here we are anyway. Kyle, it's weird. Yes, I almost said it and then I pulled off. I did it on purpose? Sort of. What's weird is I almost want to say rejoin. I almost want to say rejoining, but it's not really rejoining. But it also kind of is rejoining because, like, it feels like the better version of an old thing. Feels like the much better version. Get to the point already. Gangland, it's called anticipation. Building some drama. It's a real back for the first time situation. Thank you, Esquire. That sums it up pretty well. Guys, we are back with Tony and Tom and the boys. We are officially a part of Buckeye Huddle. As I said, and I'll still say it. You think just because we're a part of Buckeye Huddle now that I won't say it? Because I will. Buckeye Huddle. It's like Buckeye Scoop without the assholes. I've been saying it for months. You think just because we're a part of the family now, I wasn't gonna say it? So Jared moves to #last in the host rankings. I thought I was already last in the host rankings. Y'all have had Kyle at #1 forever, and then that's it because there's just two of us.
Consistency. All right, all right. So that's part
Tony's
of that.
Tony's not a host here.
It's always good to be there with Tom, Tony, and Mark in the game there. So yeah, really appreciate it and looking forward to it's great content here. So all right, Know Your Enemy, Michigan State Spartans.
Kyle, we should probably let everyone know that we do, because we might have some new people watching. Well, we'll have to reset some stuff. We might have some new people watching. This is Know Your Enemy. We do this every Thursday. This is where we preview the football game, the Ohio State football game coming up. We will be releasing to the public 4 episodes a week. Thursdays are Know Your Enemy. We actually sort of consider this the start of our week. Weirdly enough, Friday we do the Sloop picks. We'll pick 6 additional games against the line. We pick Ohio State against the line. We'll do 6 more games on our Friday episode. Oh shit, I forgot to give you my matchups to watch. You just listen. Fuck it, do it live. It's all good. On Monday, we do an episode called Scarlet and Grade. That is GRADE. That's where we grade Ohio State's individual position groups and just talk about the game that happened. And then, no, it's grade. No, it's not. I know. I made the logo. And on Tuesdays, we do Collegiate Chaos, which is just us reviewing the more national scope of games. All right, Kyle. Know your enemy, the Michigan State Spartans. We had to do some self-promo there. New people are watching. All right, Kyle. Sparty comes into this game 2-3.
Not the greatest start for Michigan State here. They started off strong. I mean, they started off 2-0, but against MAC schools.
Yeah,
and
but
then they
against
started
the pair of
playing
MAC
some,
schools.
and then they started playing some Power 5 teams, and let's just say they haven't looked all that great.
Listen, this isn't the SEC. We know how to beat MAC schools here. That's all I'm saying. Listen,
all right.
I'm just saying, if you're the defending national champions, you shouldn't be down to the wire with Kent. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But should Michigan State be here and just say it's tough playing in the Big Ten? It's tough. Every game is tough in the Big Ten, Jared.
Yeah, I love that. The SEC apologists were like, well, after Georgia struggled, like, hey, we this is a mulligan. Every game's tough in the SEC, and like everyone just forgot about the Kent State game. But anyway, we're talking about Sparty.
Yes.
Then they proceeded to lose by 11 points to Washington. This was in Washington. Washington's a good team. You kind of almost wanted to
give them a little pass. I would have given them a little pass there. Yes.
But 11's not great.
No.
11-point loss isn't great. Beating Kent State by 17 after it being a 1-score game is respectable because the grit it required to win at home in the SEC. God, Gangland, you're a little too good at that, my man.
I would give Sparty a little pass for Washington, but then the following week they hosted Minnesota, and it was not a game. It was not a game at.
Yeah, it was ugly. And we're not gonna do like a full game review of Minnesota versus Michigan State by any means. But if I can give you one stat, to tell you what this game was like, Minnesota possessed the ball for 42 and a half minutes. And if you're wondering, or maybe you're just bad at math, that means Michigan State held the ball for only 17 minutes. Do the math, Jared. Just do the math. I don't have to do the math. It's in the box score.
And the game was 34-0 until Sparty scored touchdown with 17 seconds. So it was essentially 34-0 for 99% of the game.
Yeah.
Or it was it was a shutout 99% of the game. And then last weekend they lost to Maryland 27-13. Definitely not a good start for Sparty here.
No, by no means. Nomad says because Thorne is good. Thorne completed about 66% of his passes, only for about 132 yards and 2 interceptions though. So. Hey, why don't you have voice privileges? Because you haven't earned them. Thorne is as good as a Rose Thorne would be a quarterback. Yeah. Damn it, I should have made an every Rose has a Thorne pun in your picks. Yeah, you really should have. Yes. Buckeye Matt says, Sparty will be fighting Indiana for the worst team in the Big Ten. I still want to give that to Nebraska at the moment, although they seem to be playing a little bit better now that they've been defrosted. I'm sticking by that joke. I don't care. I liked that joke. So
Sparty, yeah, as we're trying to get to, not the Spartan team that we thought they could have been at the beginning of the year. If you remember, we talked about at the start of the year, we just don't know who Michigan State is. They lost some players, but we don't know if they're going to be that surprise team that does well, or they're just going to be a crapshoot. And to come find out, Jared, it's the crapshoot side. Only scoring 27 points a game and letting up 22.5 per game, which isn't terrible, but when you're only putting up 27 and letting up 22, it doesn't look all that good.
Buckeye Esquire says Kenneth Walker should get a cut of Mel Tucker's contract. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some individuals have been voicing concerns about Ohio State playing on the road and being scared. I think they are dumb. Yeah, they're dumb.
I mean, yes, this is Ohio State's first road game. Here we are in October, and this is their first road game. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not scared. I've seen enough of Ohio State and the depth that Ohio State has right now, even with all the injuries that they've had beginning of the year. I really, really like the development for this team this year.
Yeah, and Ohio State has legitimately been playing some people that's no, I think Gangland's no, Matt, I think Gangland's specifically talking about that other Discord server he's on, which is filled with children, if we're being honest. If we look at some of the rankings, or not necessarily some of the rankings, but if we look at the defenses that Ohio State's played so far this year, they've actually played, like, if you really go through Ohio State's schedule so far, they've really played like a bunch of great teams as far as like defensively speaking. They've defensively played a lot of great teams this year, even if they, Notre Dame's offense didn't put it together and so on and so forth, right? This is Kyle, and I get that, like, Arkansas State was on the schedule, and like we had some non-Power 5 teams on. Okay, but based off of expectation, at least, is this the worst defense Ohio State's played so far this year?
Yeah, I would say so. I just, yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like, again, like Toledo, realistically, probably worse, defensively speaking, if we're just, but like, we know that, like, that's Toledo. There's a talent mismatch there. Everyone knows that. But Michigan State, considering the talent that they have, or at least should have, as one of the, better-ish programs in the Big Ten, it's just not come together for them from a defensive standpoint. I think that's pretty fair to say. They're giving up over 400 yards a game. And again, please keep in mind that their schedule. Like, Maryland is an okay offense. Minnesota has a predictable, but as long as they have Ibrahim, a very effective offense. They don't have Ibrahim, not so much, as we saw from Minnesota last week.
Yep.
Washington's not like some sort of offensive juggernaut, but still a good team. And then there's like Akron and Western Michigan on their schedule. So even with like that considered, still giving up over 400 yards a game, giving up nearly 300 yards a game passing, giving up nearly 150 on the ground each game. And they have individuals on this defense. They have some really good individuals on this defense. So I don't want this to come across like they got nothing. There's no talent here, because they do have some really good individuals defensively on this team, but they aren't putting it together at this point.
Correct. Yeah.
Gangland says, well, it's a glorified farm school. Nomad says, isn't that all of the Big Ten? Fun fact, Michigan State started as an A&M, if that means anything to you. They were originally Michigan A&M.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as Jared was mentioning, they got some pretty good players on the defense there. I think everybody knows the name of Cal Halliday, their star linebacker, Jacoby Winman, that stellar defensive end that he has. Hey, Jared, so Jacoby has one fumble recovery for the season, but also 5 forced fumbles already. So he's averaging a forced fumble for every game.
Definitely someone to keep an eye on. I mean, that's a ridiculous stat. And I don't know, like, I have to assume at a certain point it's not an anomaly, right? 5 forced fumbles at a certain point is no longer an anomaly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If he had 3 in 3 games, maybe we can say anomaly. And I'm not saying he's going to keep the pace. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to keep the pace, but that's a lot.
Yeah, and he has 8 tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks already. So averaging a sack a game there. It's definitely the player on that defense. Ohio State really has to watch out for. And they have some other in their safety. Kendall Brooks is just all over the field. He's all over the field there. Has 47 tackles already for the year and leads the team. So that brings up the question here with a okay defense, because I think overall Spartans has an okay defense, but
I think that's a compliment that they don't deserve.
They're an okay defense that I think could be much better, but
Kyle, we know from experience the last not this year, the previous 2 years as Ohio State fans. We know it is possible to have a talented defense that isn't putting it together. We know this from experience. Ohio State has had some amazing talents on amazingly talented players in 2020 and 2021. But that doesn't mean that they collectively were making a good defense. And I think to a lesser extent, they don't have Ohio State's talent, obviously, but to a lesser extent, I think we're seeing that with Michigan State right now. Like, legitimately, some very talented players on this defense, but it's not coming together.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. I'm trying to add up some things here, Jared, but yeah, I was averaging what Ohio State's score was for the past, 6 games that Ohio State's played Sparty.
Oh, okay. Played Sparty specifically. I was curious where you're. I was like, why 6? Over 40 each, except for 2018. Gangland says.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they are. Yep, they averaged over the last 6 games 38.8 points per game.
Did you do the math on how much they're letting up in that time?
That's what I'm doing right now as I am talking, and they are letting up 9 points per game. So it is a 30. I'm just going to round up, just because 39-9 average score, Jared.
I feel like the Sparty score is gonna be about in that area, and I feel like Ohio State's gonna score a lot more points than that. I feel like I know I'm not talking up Sparty too hard here. We score 56 min. Nomad says.
Well, that's what Ohio State scored last year, 56-7 last year.
56. In order to get to 56, they're gonna have to start the game like they started the game against Wisconsin.
Yes.
So, like, don't muff a punt, I think is maybe the takeaway there.
Yes.
Trey goes for 150 and 3 touchdowns. I don't know if they're giving Trey that much right now. I think they still got him on a pitch count at the moment. We saw so Ryan Day said of one of the cornerbacks this week that he's healthy, he's fine. Yeah, thank you, Gangland. It was Hancock. Like, he's healthy, he's fine, he's 100%, he's ready to go. But we're probably going to sit him out until after the bye week. Which probably, like, unintentionally says something about Michigan State's passing attack, which is not good. But also take that logic, take what he said about Jordan Hancock, and ask yourself if that strategy if that thinking is applying to some of the other players that everyone's very concerned about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Henderson, KJ, I almost called him KJ Hill again. Why do I keep doing that? JSN. They're treating this like a bowl game. JSN is about to do it, but no, he's not.
No.
Here, everyone keeps making this JSN Bosa. Bosa needed surgery. Very key difference there. Gangland, I kind of know you're making fun of those people. I know that. But yeah, no, I just don't expect JSN to be back until after the bye week. I think that's probably a thing that we can expect for a lot of the players who've been kind of playing, kind of not playing. So keep an eye on that for Penn State. Exactly.
All right. All right. Some other players to keep a note on. I mean, everybody knows Peyton Thorne. Jared briefly covered him a little bit. The running back, Jalen Berger, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns for the year, 59 carries, which is a pretty good average. But again, I'm not worried about this Michigan State offense to score a lot of points here. And their main target out in the wideout position is Keon Coleman, who leads the team with 25 receptions, 308 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Anybody?
They also
anybody
have Broussard at running back, who's had a fair number of carries, has 177 on the season. But Ohio State has held some really good running backs to not much this year. Again, Kyle mentions Thorne. Thorne's completing like just under 65%. His average is only about 6.9 right now. Nice. He has only 2 more touchdowns than he currently has interceptions. And while I do think Coleman's a good wide receiver, I don't know if it matters at this point. I try not to overhype things, because like if you come on here and you overhype what you think's going to happen, and then Ohio State has like an okay win, like 42-10, but half of those came in the second half and everyone is real pissy because they're only up 21-0 in the first half or something, then it's just like, oh, Jared, you told us it was going to be easy. So like, years of doing this podcast have sort of has made me nervous to come out and say, hey guys, I think this is going to be a slaughter. So I'm trying to stop myself from saying, hey guys, I think this is going to be a slaughter.
But Jared,
42-10 as an okay win shouldn't be a thing. But
that's true.
I agree with you that it shouldn't be, but how long have I been doing this?
But you know what, Nomad, though, 42-10, I would take. It's a cover. Ohio State is a 27.5-point favorite.
But by the way, not all 42-10s. Not all 42-10s are the same. If Ohio State scores 35 in the first half, and then welcome Austin, and then the second half ends up being like, if the first half is 35-3 and the second half is 7-7, everyone's fine with that. If it's 21-21, then people will get pissy. That I've watched the ebbs and flows of Ohio State fan emotional reactions to games for too long. Kyle, I don't think the slideshow is slideshowing. So that's talk fine. For a second. I'm going to fix it.
That's fine. Well, I was going to say, I think that's enough talk about the players here. Talked about the team as a whole. So I think we should start going into some of our picks here. So every week during our Know Your Enemy, we have somebody in our one of our patrons or one of our slip cats to be our guest picker. And this week we have Buckeye Esquire, who will be picking alongside us for today's episode here. So the first one we're going to do, Jared, is Ohio State player to watch. So what's the one player to watch out for the Buckeyes in this matchup?
Sorry, the slideshow is slideshowing now. For Ohio State, I think for me, I'd really like to see a game where they're just efficient as hell. Just absolutely as efficient as hell. And I think that almost always starts up front. So to me, I'm going to look at the offensive tackles because, as Kyle pointed out, Jacoby Windman's is a monster. And, we recently have had some stuff come out about how dominant Paris Johnson Jr. has been. He has not given up a sack. He has not given up a sack yet as a Buckeye, I believe. Paris is he is a top 10 pick. So my player to watch will be Paris Johnson Jr. Kyle, I just now scrolled down to the notes and Kyle already got there.
I did, but you know what? I'll pick DeJuan Jones because the defensive ends should swap sides there. So I'll go with DeJuan Jones. Both tackles are who Ohio State should be. Is who you should be watching for the Buckeyes here. So Buckeye Esquire in our chat here says here, player to watch. He has Fleming.
See you, Nomad.
He has Fleming, Julian Fleming as the player to watch. He says he's been stacking good games, and I want to see the next level. Defense, give me JT. Want to see him around the QB and being disruptive. Jacoby has 6 sacks already. Our tackles versus him to keep Stroud clean, to carpet bomb their shit secondary is my matchup while we're on offense. While Buckeyes are on defense, I'm going to watch the D line, looking for sacks ideally, but obvious pressure from our ends affecting Thorne will be good too. Also, Burke versus himself is the other matchup I'm interested in. So that's a good point about, I think Coach Knowles mentioned a little bit about the lack of sack, the lack of sacks, the lack of stats from the defensive line. And he's like, it seems like that he was fine with that. He didn't have any issues because they're being, what you said, they're being disruptive. They're creating opportunities for the linebackers, which is why we're seeing the linebackers just be dominant so far this year. They're just doing their role to fill in the gaps for the linebackers to make plays.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what Kyle and I have been saying as well.
All right, and the enemy, the Spartan player to watch. I mean, it's Jacoby, Jared. The answer is Jacoby.
I'll pick someone different just to make it interesting. I think both. I think you and me during the player to watch segment and Buckeye Esquire just now explained why I think that is the correct answer. But for the sake of conversation, I'll pick someone else and I'll go Kendall Brooks. Kendall Brooks, Kyle, leading the team with tackles, correct? Yeah. And is tied for second, or maybe is second in the tackles for loss. We talked a lot about how Windman has 5. No?
Yeah, that's 0.5.
Oh. Kyle, when you do a 0.5, you need to put a 0 in the thing, buddy. That's 0.5. All right. But we talked a lot about how Windman has 5 forced fumbles on the year. Brooks has 3. Like, say what you want to say about the Sparty defense, and most of it would be right, just so we're clear. They are good at forcing fumbles.
Yeah, I think they have 9 forced fumbles for the year, and of those 9, they've recovered 7 of them. So the lack of interceptions that the Spartans defense has, which they have 0. They're making it up on the fumbles.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely. But so yeah,
Right.
I'll go Kendall Brooks. I think, especially considering I think Ohio State's probably going to break through the front seven pretty frequently. Kendall Brooks will be in charge of sort of being that third line to get some tackles on whoever the I assume it'll be Chop, whoever the primary running back is this week. And also to try and keep the Flemings and the Marvin Harrisons and the Emeka Bukas of the world from scoring from 70 yards out.
Yeah. The key matchup here, I really like what Esquire said in his in what I mentioned just recently here, and that was Burke versus himself. I really like that part. We know how great Denzel Burke can be, and this year has definitely been a down year so far. And yeah, I really like that. I really like that. It only takes one game for him to really just get back into it, and then all of a sudden you finish the season strong here. I really like that that thought there, Esquire. But for my key matchup, honestly, it's continuing to develop those defensive backs, and maybe it is Burke really stepping up here. But I don't think the Spartans are going to really be able to run as well. I mean, nobody has against Ohio State so far. So continuing to not let Peyton Thorne try to pass the ball, which he hasn't been all that successful in his time at Michigan State versus Ohio State. But I want to see that continue on this year. So I'll stick with the corner. I'll stick with the corners locking down their receivers.
Austin, yeah, you can. We kind of hold each other to harder standards than we hold the guest pickers because we have to do this every week. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to make sure we don't sound repetitive. That's all. I know it was a joke. Key matchup to me. I think one of the things that will allow the Ohio State offense to score a bunch of points and be incredibly dominant and put this game away quickly will be time of possession in a sense. They don't need to hold the ball a lot, but they do need to hold the Spartans to some 3 and outs, get off the field, get things going. And to me, the way you do that most effectively is through your defensive ends, either by crashing the line or by, forcing the quarterback out of the pocket, even if you're not getting the sack. I know we want the sacks, but even if you're not getting it, as long as you're disrupting the pass. So to me, I'll go with, I think this week I'm going to go with Tuimoloau against whichever offensive tackle he happens to be lined up against. So I think that's where I'm going to go at this point.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And we will be picking this spread. Well, it's up to 27 now, but when we locked it in, it was at 25.5, which makes me makes me feel a lot better about my my pick here, Jared. But yeah, to no surprise, I've got Ohio State to cover the spread and I believe cover it easily. And I'm going to go with exactly what happened last year. I have Ohio State 56, Sparty 7.
That's
Which Jared,
it's okay.
If you can do the math, Jared, does that cover?
It does, but it's not nice.
I know it's not. It's never been nice yet. It was 59 last week, and we always joked around like, oh, whatever. It was 59 last week, but whatever.
I'll go
All right,
59.
what do you got, Jared?
I got 59-10
All right, of course.
because nice.
Of course, Jared.
Because nice.
Because nice. All right. You wanna read off what Buckeye Esquire has to say?
Yeah, no, I took a look at this one before we started, and I was like, hey, Kyle, this one's pretty Greek. Do you want me to handle it? And then he got to, he didn't get to the first period before he said, yeah, Jared, you handle this one.
All right.
Okay, this is a game prediction by our patron and Discord member, Buckeye Esquire. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. In 480 BC, the Achaemenid Persian Empire sought to roll over the various city-states of Greece at a narrow pass in a region known as Thermopylae. A coalition of Spartans assembled in defiance of the vastly overwhelming Persian horde. The outcome was preordained. After a brief delay, the Persians overwhelmed Sparty and conquered Athens. Saturday will be much the same with less Gerard Butler. Mel Tucker has no king. Leonidas. Was that supposed to be? Is no. Anyway, has no king. There will be no valiant stand. Sparty is going to take the L from the first snap until they let Devon Brown kneel. Devin Brown kneel with 48 seconds remaining on the clock, like the famed Thunder Ohio State rolls. I did not too bad on that. Yes, Esquire is actually a lawyer, in case anyone was maybe confused about that.
I didn't see what your score was. Do you have a final score, Esquire? 63-6. Because nice. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Kyle, some of us can stick to the joke.
All right, before we go into our Ask Sloopcast question here, or questions, you got anything else for Sparty here?
Again, like if Ohio State can get up big, if they can score quickly, this will look a lot more like Wisconsin than it did last week. So yeah, to me, the final score doesn't even matter a ton as long as they cover. To me, this is more about Ohio State scoring quickly. Like, don't just win by whatever the final, don't just win by 35 points. Be winning by 35 points at the half or 28 points at the half and then pick up the 7 on the back half. Yeah, it's, to me, I'm more interested in what happens in the first half, because I really, and maybe even the first quarter, because I think that will affect not necessarily the outcome of the game, because I think Ohio State wins this without much real concern, but how like we feel about the game.
All right, let's get into the Ask Sloopcast question, and of course, we have Austin formations, over unders. All right. So we will start off with Mayan Williams. He has Mayan Williams rushing yards in this game, 89.5 yards.
Over.
Yep, over.
Because I just don't expect to see Henderson in this game a lot. Again, kind of what I was talking about with Jordan Hancock earlier. That's how I see that playing out.
All right. And we have Jesse Mirko punts at 2.5. You almost got me. You almost got me there, because you put Jesse Micro It's Jesse Mirco. You almost got me there.
Austin, by the way, points out that Chop averages 93.5, and in games without Henderson, he averages 97. How, including what games? Is that just this year, out of curiosity? Yeah, that's a total. You point out an autocorrect, Kyle. That's not cool.
All right. So
I included the 2 or 3 this year, basically. Okay.
So Mirko has punted 15 times this year. So an average of 3 times a game on average. Of those 15 punts, 10 of those are inside the 20-yard line. Only 1 has been a touchbacks. And probably one of the most stellar stats I've seen here. Total yards returned by opponent. Battle 0.
I don't know if I've seen a legit return attempt. I don't think I don't think there's been anything more dramatic than a fair catch. Rutgers did try, Gangland says. Okay. Dude got lit up right away. Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I do remember it.
I'm going to say over, just because you do have the second team who comes in, and there tends to be more punts that happen. So I'm going to go over. I'll go over.
Yeah, I think Will might be a bit nervous about this one, like at halftime, but then we'll pick up the rest. There'll probably be like 1 in the first half and 2 in the second half would be my prediction. So yeah, I'll say over as well.
All right. Ohio State offensive third down efficiency, 58.49%.
I'm gonna go. Man, it's real hard because, like, I feel like while the game's still competitive, it'll be over. But I just worry about like the back half of the game dragging that down. It sounds like it should be over. It does sound that way, Austin.
It sounds, and they're averaging right now. Well, yeah, their conversion for the year is 60.34%, which is crazy good. Crazy good. I don't know.
And Michigan State is currently letting up 44%.
I'm going to go under. I'll go under. I think it'll be really close, but I'll go just a tad under for that third down efficiency.
I'm going to go. Yeah, it's a very good number, Austin. I'm going to go over, but like just barely over, I think.
All right. We have the duo linebackers, Steele and Tommy, at 14.5 tackles combined.
Now, that feels like an easy over, doesn't it?
Over. I'll take the over on that one too.
I feel it feels easy, but I know Austin well enough to know that it's probably not that easy. They average less than that per game. See, like that's why I was hedging it. And honestly, like I kept saying, this feels like an easy over. This feels like an easy over.
And then it's not.
I feel like Sparty is going to give up on the run pretty quickly, which will just slaughter these numbers for them.
Yeah, it could. It really.
So
could,
I'm gonna go under here. Michigan's not gonna have any luck throwing it. They're gonna go down, or excuse me, they're not gonna have any luck throwing it either. They're not gonna have any luck running it. They're gonna be down pretty quickly. They're gonna lean into the pass. Michigan State is already a pretty pass heavy team. Well, not that heavy. 55% of the time they pass. So yeah, I'm gonna go under here.
Okay. CJ Stroud's yards per attempt, 10.49.
It's a big number.
That is. I'm going to go under with that. He is right now averaging per attempt, 10.3.
Gonna go over because I think
I'll go under.
I'm gonna go over because I don't particularly like this Michigan State defense.
Okay. Let's see. And then total game turnovers. So I'm going to guess turnovers as a total for the entire game at 2.5. So you got Sparty that causes fumbles, and you have Ohio State that's
Not great.
Turnover. They're not great, but they're not bad. They're kind of. I feel like that they're kind of in the middle of the road. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I'll go. I'll go under. I'll go under for this one.
I will as well. This feels like a 2 turnover game. One each.
All right, and last one, Ohio State receivers with at least 1 touchdown at 2.5. I will take. And he said receivers. He didn't say wide receiver. So I'm taking the over.
Hold on. Let's get clarification from Austin on that.
Oh, he said wide receivers only. Okay. I'll go under.
With at least 1 touchdown.
I'll go under.
I'm going to go under as well because you have like 3 primary wide receivers. This would require all of them to get multiple touchdowns. Or no, excuse me. They'd all get 1 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day feels like right now Ryan Day has a thing to prove, like inside the 10-yard line. He's bound and determined to crash it into the end zone. Like he is trying to prove a point. Oh yeah, I'm not against it. Just saying. Yeah, and exactly, Matt. Stover has been getting a lot of those. Well, I think that's what he's saying, Austin. He's saying that he'll steal 1 away because there's only going to be so many passing touchdowns, and if Stover steals 1 or 2, see, I'm going to go under here. Ah, gosh, this is a good number. I feel like it's going to be primarily running touchdowns this week, so I'm gonna go under. But I also think Ohio State can potentially break a lot of long ones just through Austin. Yeah, I think they will also run it a lot. But my concern is that like when they get inside the 10, then they tend to just sort of pound it, really. But I also think that Ohio State can get a lot done after the catch. So that would lead to a lot of long touchdowns. This one has me spinning. I've talked myself in and out like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go under. I'll go under. Yeah. I feel like this game gets wrapped up pretty quickly, which could see the backups come in, which could eliminate one of the 3 wide receivers from getting a touchdown this week. Do the old.
That's it.
Do the old hide the wide receiver at tight end like we did with Ginn circa. Yeah. I feel like defenses are smarter than that nowadays. But also we're kind of hiding the wide receiver at tight end with G. Scott. So 2 touchdowns of 30 plus yards, a prediction from Buckeye Esquire. I would, so if it's at 1.5, I'd take the over on that.
All right, and that is it. That is all the questions from Austin here, and that is Know Your Enemy for this week. Got anything else before we wrap it up, Jared?
No, I think we're good. Thank you, Esquire, for some with some well-written guest picker stuff. Thank you, Austin, as always, for the over-unders. Thank you, all the new people who might be seeing us through Buckeye Huddle, for giving us a chance, especially if you've stayed this long. We greatly appreciate you. So I guess because you're new here, I might have to do a little bit of this. We also have our own YouTube channel. You can find that at youtube.thesloopcast.com. On that YouTube channel, we actually have a bunch of highlights. So if you kind of want to see what other things we've done, just sort of some of our older content from this season, Kyle edits some really great, like 1 minute ish, 1 minute and under highlights. You can find those on YouTube as well. You can also find those on Instagram and TikTok, so you can also find those there as well as on Twitter. And if you're looking for any of our other links, so if you're like, oh, Jared, you said Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all that. If you're looking for links, you can just go to thesloopcast.com. It's just a page filled with links that can get you to all of our stuff, including our Patreon, which, like, if this is your first time listening, you're probably not going to sign up for the Patreon right away. But hey, maybe you do. Maybe you do. We have t-shirt stores, including merch.thesloopcast.com, which has like a lot of Ohio State adjacent but not trademark infringing merchandise. Donate just $3 a month on Patreon to help Kyle as his family grows. We don't got to guilt. We don't got to do that. All right, Kyle, that's it. That's all I got. Do you have anything? We call the end part of this show Kyle's Corner. Do you have anything? This is just Kyle giving us sometimes unrelated, sometimes related little tidbit of something at the end of the show. We call it Kyle's Corner.
Yeah, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And I'm going to stick with the Columbus Crew, Jared. And the Columbus Crew, like in Crew fashion this year, ended up tying today, Jared. They were up 2-0 and then let up the tying goal in extra stoppage.
Kyle, one of our close friends, is a high school soccer coach. And one of the things he has drilled into my head is that there's no worse lead than 2-0. It's like just enough to enough to get you to like pull back a little bit.
Yeah. So here's a sec. The Crew dropped 11 points in the 90th minute or later this season. 3 more than any other team has dropped in a single season in MLS history. Not good. Not good. It's pretty much a must-win game against Orlando. Is it Orlando?
Yeah,
I think it's Orlando this weekend, this Sunday. It's a must win.
Well, you're assuming
they have to win or tie. Yeah, they have to win or tie. But you know what? You play to win the game.
But Austin, Orlando's currently losing. Like they, Buckeye Esquire, I have to call you out here. I said something very nice about you before. How many seasons ago was it that Know Your Enemy had the Screamo Know Your Enemy intro? Did you just call Rage Against the Machine Screamo? I'm just going to let you live in that.
All right, and that's it. That is it, Jared. That is all we have for today.
You just have to live with that, Esquire. You just meant the screaming voice, shorthand way to describe. Read my words, damn it. Yeah, but like dudes have been screaming into the microphone since the 60s. Like, you can't. Okay, I need to. No, I just need to. No, God, you just called Rage Against the Machine Screamo. Oh God. The show's over. The show's over. If you're new here, we always play an Ohio-based band to end the show. We don't actually play the music on YouTube though, because YouTube's real finicky about that stuff. Sink the ship. We can do sink the ship. Yeah, we'll do sink the ship tonight. My shiny teeth and me. Yeah, sure. We'll do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. So yeah, we'll do. But okay, that's the song we're doing. We'll do Sink the Ship. We'll do their cover of My Shiny Teeth and Me because it is basically great. How on earth did that trigger RefBot? I don't want to know. Someone tell me after we stop recording. But yeah, that's the end of the show. Again, we don't actually play music on the YouTube version of the show. We do play music on the podcast version of the show. But if you still want to hear the song, we always put a link to the song down in the description. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Sink the Ship.